In sports, if you want to be the best, there are no off days.
Can you smell that? Oh, it smells good in the nodpod studios.
I've been cooking all day.
Look at him. He hasn't even had a chance to change. He's dressed like a waiter. Welcome on in to the No Off Days podcast. I'm Scott Smith. We got Chris Cato here, and behind the scenes we have Brian King. We'll bring him in shortly. But yeah, so the aroma that is usually in the studio, because we also have a cooking show that is out of here.
Right.
But it's even more pungent today because of what you've
permeating. We have the smell of fish permeating the nodpod studios because you went and picked for the second time this season. You won a major. You won another major.
It doesn't happen often.
Riding
but
the
to do two in 1 year.
the same coattails. Xander Schauffele does it for you again.
I mean,
what was it about this guy that had you have so much faith in him?
I'm telling you, the reason I picked the guy is because he reminds me of one of my buddies in high school. He looks just like him, so I just pick Xander well, you guys don't like him, so he just sits there. He wasn't my first pick, but he was there, and I selected him in our draft last week. So yeah, he came through, and I just. For the record, I also had another guy, my top pick, finished in the top 7. So I had two people inside yours.
Who was your first pick?
John Rahm.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he had a good one.
So
I picked too many Americans, I think.
Yeah,
Scheffler was my number one, and he did what he does, finished top 10. But
yeah,
I really thought it was going to be a magical Sunday because you had like 9 players that were all bunched up there, and who was Lawrence was kind of leading the pack at that time. Tristan Lawrence, I believe, had never heard of the guy before. And then Xander pars the first 5, and they get to the back 9, and everyone else just falls apart. And Xander just does his thing. He's so boring. I wish he were more exciting.
Yeah. Well, most people probably didn't even watch because it was all happening while they were sleeping. But anyway, yeah, it was good to capture another win. And with that, I guess you guys have to pay.
We got to pay.
You got to pay a debt.
Where's my fellow loser? Let's bring in my fellow co-loser here. This is our 4th major of the year. I got the Masters. He got the whatever was next.
Yeah.
Right?
One of them we didn't.
One we skipped.
We skipped.
Which was foolish. That's the one Brian would have won.
No.
And now he gets the Open Championship.
Your highest finish was Colin Morikawa. I think he finished top 12. So
half my team was gone in the day 1 essentially. It was horrible.
How about your Chris? How about your dark horse?
My Nacho Elvira, best name in the field, of 500 to 1 odds, and he came within 2 of making the cut.
Oh, well, there you go.
I mean, if he had made the cut, you guys should have given me something, a plate of nachos or something.
At least a pat on the back. All right, so it's
so
time to pay the piper.
This is
I'm
what we
sick
wagered. Of
about
course,
it.
Open Championship winner, they get to carry around the claret jug.
Yeah.
Right. One of the oldest trophies in sports. They get to keep it all year. I don't have a claret jug for you, but we did wager. Because claret was a style of wine, or is a style of wine, from the Bordeaux region of France. We wagered a bottle of wine, a nice bottle of, well, we didn't say nice, a bottle of wine.
No, we did.
And you wanted fish and chips. So here we go.
Okay, here we go. Drum roll, please. Out of his grocery bag, this is a public
fish, sir.
Oh, it's not even cooked. Oh my gosh. So this is Gorton's. It's been trusted since 1849.
Chips.
Okay, not.
Winn-Dixie brand.
Oh boy.
And here is your.
You guys,
wine. There we go.
It's a box wine.
A box of cab.
This is Vendange. Vendange. BK, were you a part of this? Did you orchestrate this?
Cato did most of this. Cato did 90% of this. He did.
Okay.
And the cooking, so I'm quite impressed.
See, fish and chips, though, it's potato. It's fries. It's got Oh, okay.
You're
wait, that came out of there?
Let me show the camera.
Look at it. Don't let it slide off the plate there.
I
Even garnished it with a lemon.
Let me get my mic over here. This is
wonderful.
Scott. I caught this fish myself.
Okay.
I hand battered it with my own hands. Hand battered cod.
That's not a good selling point. Yeah.
And I cut the potatoes. They're fresh from the mother country.
Okay. All right.
Then
you mind if I sample?
Yeah. There you go. No, it's really hot. Ow.
Okay.
And I just dropped the knife on my foot.
Now,
there you go.
You gotta go wash the knife.
Oh no.
Okay. All right. Well,
There you go.
let me let this cool.
Here's your cutlery.
Well, thank you. This is I'm treated like a king. That wilted lettuce, though, however, it looks a little gross.
That was
Not
my
gonna lie.
contribution.
It does smell good. Do we have any tartar sauce?
Getting your sauces.
Okay, please. Sauce boy. Yeah, I don't know. Well, thank you guys for playing along. In full disclosure, I didn't really track the Open as much this weekend. Xander didn't have the greatest opening round, and I thought maybe he was out of it. So, okay, we got some tartar sauce
and that's that weird oil that people
and oil.
like. What's
okay,
it called?
vinegar. I think.
Yeah, vinegar.
Yeah,
malted vinegar.
That's the that's the oil.
Right, there you go.
Okay,
I'll hide that lettuce.
Thank
with
you.
That.
Please don't touch the food with your bare hands. Thank you. Okay, now he's off to go get my glass of wine. Oh, and it's out of a special little carafe too. So this is it's very similar to the claret jug. Look at this. Oh, okay. This
is a Cato family heirloom, so don't drop it. Okay.
Wow.
It's not a jug, but it's a stein. See, it does that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and it hasn't been washed since
since
Grandpa Cato used to use it as his spittoon. We haven't washed it.
Oh,
so now we have BK went out to all the best vineyards, and he selected this bottle.
And it would be
it's named
Josh.
and it's a legacy.
What year?
It's a 2025.
Okay.
It's still new. It's a legacy red blend.
Okay.
Let's get that ASMR for you.
Okay, that's a lot.
How about that?
You're pouring a lot in there.
That's Scott's nighty-night medicine right there. there you go, buddy. Congrats on your big win.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Well, you guys, I appreciate you coming true on the actual wager there, because I had my doubts at many points that you guys would actually do it, but thank you so much. Am I allowed to even partake of this beverage?
Yeah.
I mean, this is
please. I want your thoughts on that. Brian grew the grapes himself and stomped on them with his
in between
bare feet, like
the toes.
Lucille Ball.
Yeah, we've heard a lot about his toes on this podcast. So
I'm gonna put these fish sticks back in the freezer before they melt on us.
Yeah, please do. Well, thank you guys. That was fun. And I will partake once this cools to an edible temperature. So anyway, all right. So in addition to our shenanigans with coming true on that bet, what do we have on today's program, BK?
Hey, we're going to bring in Titus O'Neil, another one of the Tampa Bay's legends. This guy's just a great guy all around. Talk to him a little bit about what he's got going on with this back-to-school program with his foundation.
He's a big foodie, you know.
He is. That's what I hear.
Yeah.
Do you think this is up to snuff for him?
He'd probably reject that. He would body slam it. He does. I've had the honor of co-hosting a Tampa Bay Food Fight charity event the past couple of years, raises money for Metropolitan Ministries, and man, he knows the best restaurants.
Okay.
Really?
I need to get his advice on some of that. Scott's digging in. Ooh, he likes that. He likes that whitefish. Let's see if he burns his mouth on it.
It doesn't smell too bad.
He's going in with the tartar. It's hard to eat around a microphone, but he did it.
Yeah.
He's chowing.
Not bad.
Can I have the box wine later?
Yeah, here you go.
Take the.
There you go.
No good. The
Problems
vintage. Okay.
Very good.
Making me hungry over here, Brian.
And then at the end of the show, BK.
End of the show, give you a little quiz. Another time for a quiz. How about international soccer teams? Just come off of the Copa America and the European Cup. So
no.
So I'm just give you a name of teams. It's you guys are smart. You'll get it.
Okay.
I mean, the answer's up there. It's
A little too
multiple
much
choice.
credit, yeah.
The answer is Uruguay.
Well, we'll see.
Okay.
All right, very good. We'll catch up in just shortly.
Thanks,
BK,
guys.
thanks so much. If you're listening and you want to watch, go to fox13news.com/nodpod. If you're watching and you want to listen or subscribe, you can take out your phone, tap that QR code on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, and it'll take you to our show page. You can check them all out. Please subscribe, fox13news.com/nodpod. Again, we welcome all 5-star reviews on any podcast platform. Share it with your friends and enemies. All right, so it's college football season's like right around the corner. I know we keep saying this, but literally camp starts for teams next week, and so this week has been a lot of the media day chatter.
Yeah.
So we had the ACC media days, and that is a conference that's been in upheaval. We have lawsuits that are underway. FSU and Clemson are trying to fight for rights to exit their contract. And so I thought there were some interesting comments that kind of came out from ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips, in which he basically said, "Hey, our conference is strong," and he said the third best power conference. So we're a top 3 power conference. And he did have some disparaging comments for Clemson and FSU. He said that their behavior, their attempt to exit, has been disruptful and harmful, but.
And he said we're going to fight this until the end, right?
Yeah.
They're not backing down.
They're going to fight it out. So, who knows what that next step is going to be, and whether FSU and Clemson at the end of the day end up staying put. But this kind of, I think it's interesting to look at the landscape now because of all the teams that have shifted, and we have teams leaving power conferences, notably the Pac-12 as it is basically dissolved, and they've had to new conferences. How would you situate these conferences in terms of actual power conferences?
I think if I'm going to go top to bottom, the way things are positioned now with all of the realignment we've seen and the brands that have come to each of these conferences, especially the SEC getting Texas and Oklahoma and the Big Ten adding USC, UCLA, Washington, and Oregon, I think the number one overall conference best positioned right now is the Big Ten.
Really?
Yes, just a slight notch over the SEC, and that is mainly because of what they can offer their TV partners now in terms of a slate of games. Every weekend, they have a coast-to-coast footprint now, which, some people mock, some people saying, oh, that's really going to be convenient to fly from Eugene, Oregon to Maryland to play a game, but they can schedule it in a way where that is not such a drawback. And what they can offer their TV partners is a Big Ten game in every time slot.
I wrestled with this as well, and I'm leaning SEC just because the competitiveness within the conference top to bottom is better than the Big Tens.
I agree with that.
I think that the money is not quite there, but we don't really know what their total earnings are going to be once this new deal kicks in with ESPN. And so the fact that they have a longer term contract too is a little bit more appealing because I kind of look at like the TV landscape and we think that it's just always going to get bigger. Like the money's always going to be there. But as we kind of learned with the Pac-12, they were late to the party and the Big 12 took advantage. They were the last real conference to get big TV money. Mm-hmm. Does that top out at some point? The fact that ESPN has a longer term contract, I kind of
with the SEC,
yeah. I think that what will put the SEC over the top is the teams that will be making it into the postseason. I just think regularly they'll probably be able to put more teams in the playoff than the Big Ten will. That's just my guess.
Yeah.
But I think that would give them the slight edge in my book. But Big Ten's right there, and right now they're winning the money battle over everybody. But slightly over the SEC. All right, so then it comes to the question that's posed by Commissioner Phillips, and that is, who's the number 3 team or conference? Who is that?
I think this season it is the ACC. I think Phillips can say that with confidence. I think they've got better football brands in the ACC because they are hanging on right now to Florida State and Clemson and Miami. We do expect Miami. I know we said it last season, but we think Miami's going to be back this year. And I just think, again, top to bottom, you have more it's going to be interesting. NC State's going to be pretty good this year. I think Virginia Tech's going to have a good season. Louisville, I like what Jeff Brom is doing there. I just think top to bottom, they've got a better roster of teams than the Big 12, although the Big 12 did land the media prize that is Colorado. So
I went with the Big 12, actually, just because of the fact that they did get that last big TV contract. They have one. It starts in 2025. It's a $2.3 billion TV contract between ESPN and Fox. It runs through 2031. And maybe the strength of what we see, like results on the field-wise, I do tend to agree because of Florida State and Clemson and Miami kind of carrying that conference that I think that they may have more teams that are relevant at the end, but the Big 12, I think, is situated much better. And if Florida State and Clemson get what they're supposedly asking for, the ACC is going to crumble quick. So, I think right now Big 12 is in a better situation. I feel comfortable saying that they're maybe the third best conference right now. Just
right
because
now, I don't know if they are right now. With Clemson and FSU are still in the ACC. With the
certainty of knowing what their TV revenue looks like now, if the ACC goes back and they're able to renegotiate a deal with ESPN and a bunch of money comes in, if they've talked about having corporate sponsors at the top of these conferences to maybe change the game and bring in another revenue source. I mean, that's a factor, and both of them, ACC and Big 12, publicly has discussed it. ACC says, yes, we've had these private conversations as well. But, I mean, if I'm a team right now and I have to pick between the Big 12 and the ACC, I'm going Big 12 because that money is locked into a certain degree. With the ACC, I'm just not sure if FSU and Clemson leaves. That could be a big problem for the conference. So
I think FSU and Clemson need to just stick it out at this point. It's really clear the ACC isn't relenting in this legal battle, and I think if ACC or FSU and Clemson will stick it out, they can help the conference create more revenue. and they won't have to divide the pie so many ways. And I think that, to your point about the SEC earlier, getting more teams into the playoff, I think the Big 12, it might be a one-team league this year in the playoff. So
no, that's possible.
And that, again, you get more teams in, you get more money. So
yeah, no, I don't love the overall makeup of the Big 12 in terms of the teams that are in there. Losing Oklahoma and Texas is just a killer, but they've kind of filled it back up a little bit.
Utah, good,
and I mean, I think that you're going to have, like we've discussed before, I think you're going to have a new conference champion in their first year in the Big 12 this year. All right, speaking of conference champions, we continue our trek through the NFL, and we are each week breaking down each division as we inch closer to the NFL season kicking off, and we'll lead you right up to it. This week, we are tackling the AFC East, giving you our preview of how we think this division is going to shake out. And for my money, Chris, I mean, this may be the best division in all of football.
Yeah,
I think it's stacked. How do you see it going? We'll go top down.
Go top down. This is hard. I can't. Okay, so I was so busy cooking your fish.
Okay.
I didn't quite finish my. I'm going to go. I can't decide. I'm going to go Jets. Okay.
Really?
I kept Jets, Dolphins. This is a fish themed show, so I was thinking about putting Dolphins, the fish, on top, but. Yeah, I really believe, and they're all in on this Aaron Rodgers season, and with that defense, I mean, it's a tough schedule. Again, you're playing in this conference here. You're hoping to split games, I think, with Miami and Buffalo, right, when you're playing at their away places.
Sure.
But if you can steal one of those, and I think the Jets have. I love Breece Hall coming back after missing most of last season with that injury. I like what they did in the draft, and again, that defense is going to be really special. I'm going to go with an 11-win Jets coming out first.
See, I took that bait last year, and I was high on it because of the addition of Aaron Rodgers, and they had added some other pieces. The problem now, it rides or falls on Aaron Rodgers and his health, and a 40-year-old quarterback coming back off a year off. Coming off the whether his foot is good, I think his foot will be fine. The Achilles, it's the time away from the game at that age. That is the question I have for this team. And
you don't think he's been working hard at his
I think he's
ayahuasca
been working hard,
camp?
but the problem is it's timing. Like, this is a game of speed, and it only gets faster. And as you get older, they say the quarterback position things start to slow down. But I think if you take a year off from playing actual games, I don't know. Maybe this guy, he's so good and so talented and has been for so many years that maybe he defies that. But I just couldn't buy. Now, I think that they could potentially fight for a wild card spot. I think there could be as many as three teams in the playoffs from this division. Yeah. But I have the Jets as my third place team. I'm going with the Dolphins to win this division. They did kind of fall apart at the end of last season, but I think their offense is still going to be electric. They add Odell Beckham Jr. Now he's starting the season on the PUP list, so they get him back. I think he'll be a nice third option, which is a strange thing to say, that Odell Beckham Jr. is really your third option at receiver. But you got Hill and Waddle. They're going to take the top off these defenses. Your ground game is solid. I like the 1-2 punch of Mostert and A-Chain. Their defense is a bit of a question mark, but I think the change that they're making on the defense, Vic Fangio, their defensive coordinator, is replaced by Anthony Weaver, who has made a point to say, we want to change the way we use Jalen Ramsey. And maybe instead of playing as much zone, he's taking on the best receiver on the field. And I think that will fare better. If the defense is marginally better and the offense executes at the same clip, that in addition to getting some guys back on defense, Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips both coming off ACLs, I think the offense is really going to be what carries this team. But the fact that I have a plate of fish in front of me makes me think fish.
that pushed it over the top. Yeah. Nice draft pick too, and Chop Robinson. I think he'll help that defense out. All right, I've got is it my turn?
Yeah.
All this smell of fish has got me confused. I've got the Dolphins second in this division here. Again, strong start last year, rough finish, blowout, embarrassing loss to the Ravens, and then, of course, you go up there in negative 30 degrees and can't do anything against the Chiefs. Defense is the big question. I'm not going to go over it much. You provided all the defense, all the evidence there. But I think they did pick up enough to get with such an offense, with an offense like that, they should be able to get enough out of their defense. And I like, apparently the players were really miserable with Vic Fangio, so that was something that had to be corrected there. I see them winning 10 games. I've got them going 10-7.
Okay. I forgot to mention, I got the Dolphins winning the division, game improved from last year at 12-5. My second place team is the Buffalo Bills. It's hard to lose an all-pro receiver. They've lost Stephon Diggs, but they also lose Gabe Davis, another receiver. So they're going to try to kind of have this patchwork offense, receiving core, which I don't mind. The pieces they look pretty decent on paper. You bring in Curtis Samuel as a free agent. You draft Keon Coleman from Florida State, which I think he's going to be a great pro. But the strength of your receiving room is, probably, Dalton Kincaid, their tight ends are pretty good. Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox. Josh Allen has to cut down on his interceptions. And if he does that, this team will be good. Their defense is kind of middle of the road. They lose a couple guys. They lose their safety tandem in Hyde and Poyer. Tre'Davious White, cornerback, gone. Von Miller needs to start producing. But, when you have Josh Allen, you have the consistency from the coaching down. I think that they're going to be relevant. I think they're going to be a playoff team. What they do in the playoffs is another matter altogether. But I just don't see them getting over that threshold against the Dolphins. My third place team is the Jets. So, and I got them at an 8-8. As mentioned already, the reasons for that. They signed Hassan Reddick, which I love that addition. I think he could provide some really good pass rush for this team. But he's like a no-show at camp as we tape this.
Ruh-roh.
So he wants a new contract. Is this going to be an issue? It's the last thing you need is some type of storyline in New York that's going to derail this thing. It's not about.
It would be a very Jetsy thing to do. Wouldn't it?
It's not about you, Hassan. But they have great pieces on defense. But I have the Jets finishing 8-8. So
boy, that'd be disappointing.
They're improved from last year.
Yeah. So, and obviously, as we've indicated here, I have the Bills third in the division, and this was tough too. I couldn't decide. I could completely get these top three in reverse order.
That would be shocking, though, if the Bills finished. Can you imagine?
Well, but would it be shocking?
Yeah, they've won the division, I think, 4 years in a row.
They have, but how long can that last? And okay, here's my point. I think this is a year of transition for them. I still think they're going to be good. I think their defense is going to be very good. But again, they're going to a younger roster, and I think there could be some moments where Josh Allen and the receivers aren't on the same page, and the beginning of the year could be a little. I lost the schedule. I had it up here. It's a tough schedule they've got here. Yeah. Look at this down the stretch. Okay, here it is. Between weeks 9 and 15, they're playing 5 teams that made the playoffs last year. And again, you're hoping Matt Milano is what he was on defense before he got hurt last year. I do like how they drafted, but still, when you're saying Dalton Kincaid is their most accomplished pass catcher right now, I don't know. And with that schedule, I could completely have this out of order, but I think it's going to be a year of transition for the Bills, and I think they'll be much better next season.
But we agree that the New England Patriots are going to stink up the division, right?
I don't see any other way around it.
Right. Yeah. They bring in Bill Belichick is gone. Just Belichick alone, I think, and what he was able to do over the years produced many wins for this team. The way he was able to scheme up that defense. Now I think their defense is largely intact, but they're going with a new quarterback. I guess Jacoby Brissett is probably
sounds like he's going to start out of the gate,
but it won't be long before Drake May's in there. They don't have enough talent across the board. So, and for a first time head coach to step in there and try to right that ship with potentially a rookie quarterback, I see them winning 3 games.
Okay.
I got them a 3-14 team, maybe in line for the first or second pick in the draft.
That would help them get some weapons around. They had to take a quarterback, though. When you're picking third, so many other teams are lined up. You got to go ahead and take Drake May. And, boy, all the scouts really love him. So you're hoping that he is that thing for future. Not this season, but build something around him. But I somehow found one more win than you did. I've got him at 4-13, matching last year's record.
Yeah.
Maybe they sneak up on someone who's already, cashed it in and is resting guys for the playoffs. I don't know. But, yeah, low expectations, which is strange to say after 17 years of dominance again. but the page has turned. Belichick isn't there anymore.
Well, and they could pick off a couple of non-conference teams. I mean, they're going to be playing a lighter schedule than the rest of the division because they finished in last. But, again, like I started this off, I think that the AFC East could be the strongest division in the NFL. Even having an 8-8 Jets team, I think they're going to be a pretty good team. But just beating up on each other, having to face the Bills twice, having to face the Dolphins twice, it's just not going to be for the Patriots. It's not looking good. So anyway, That's how we see the AFC East shaking out. Next week we will jump into the NFC East and give you our thoughts and predictions on how that division is going to fare.
We'll tell you how bad the Giants are going to be next week.
Meanwhile, we have a guest standing by. He is Titus O'Neil, former Gator, WWE Hall of Famer. He is our guest. We're talking back-to-school events. We're talking his philanthropy, as well as a little football. Stay with us. The Nod Pod continues right after this. Well, we welcome to the program WWE Legend, Tampa Bay resident, Titus O'Neil. And you know what, Titus, I'm not sure there's anyone that is really more actively engaged in our community than all that you have done. And I want to help get the word out because we got the big event coming up this weekend at Raymond James Stadium. It's the 7th annual Back to School Bash. It's one of the many ways and things that you orchestrate and you're behind. Tell us a little bit about what's going on this Saturday.
Yeah, so our 7th annual Back to School Bash will be at Raymond James Stadium. Doors open at 9:01. It'll go from 9:01 to 1:01. And it's in partnership with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Advent Health. It's our 7th year doing it. We'll be distributing backpacks, school supplies. We'll have eye exams, health physicals, haircuts, the works, and it's free food. It's a completely free event. And it's to help hopefully kick off what I hope to be a very spectacular school year for those in the Hillsborough County area.
Yeah, did I hear this right? 15,000 or more backpacks ready to go?
Yeah, we actually are giving away 30,000 backpacks, but we stuffed 15,000 over the weekend. So usually the last few years we've given out 30,000 backpacks with school supplies. And they're not just random backpacks with random things in it. Everything is, everything we purchase, notebooks are all the same. So it's not like someone's getting one thing versus the other. They're all great backpacks and great colors, so gender neutral, and gives the kids an opportunity to, be proud of something that they're getting, not just a handy, just a flimsy hand-me-out.
Yeah, something that's going to be critical, of course, in the coming weeks as we get back to school. Where did the idea come from, and how have you seen it personally impact our families here in the area?
Well, the idea came from the fact that I come from a single-parent mother who worked 2 jobs to make ends meet that never met. And, obviously doing a lot with educators and schools and teachers throughout the years, it's always been a case of where teachers are always trying to raise money for school supplies. They're always trying to do things to help students be able to perform better. And so I had a conversation, sat down with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Brian Ford, pitched the idea to him. There are 1 million back-to-school bashes around the county and around the area. And I wanted to do something that was uniform and can bring people from all walks of life into one specific place. Many of who live in our community have never even touched the grounds of Raymond James Stadium for a game or an event or a concert or whatever. So to be able to bring them there for a free event and let them see what Raymond James Stadium actually looks like, even though they live in Tampa, they've never had the money to do those things to be able to go. And so the heart behind it clearly is that when I grew up, I never had glasses that were adequate for me. One, I either lost them, fought, and got them broken, or I didn't wear them just because they were so thick. And I got called nicknames and 4 eyes and Coke bottles and bullied. And so I wanted to have all the resources that I didn't have available to me as a child be available to some of these children and families that are coming through the doors at Raymond James Stadium.
It seems like in all your philanthropy that you seem to have a heart for the things that hit closer to home. You recently hosted a dad event. You've got a new book out called Wrestling with Fatherhood. Kind of in your own words, what does a good dad look like, and why are they so vital?
A great dad looks like a man who is present, understanding that he has to have the ability to be vulnerable, not just with his children, but with the world. Life happens to all of us. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter how many Instagram followers you have. It doesn't matter what job you have. Fatherhood to me is the highest honor that a man can ever have. As a man that never grew up with a biological father, never met my biological dad, but had the opportunity to raise 3 amazing children and my 2 sons and my daughter. I wouldn't trade anything in the world, no house, no car, no riches or fame, for the ability to have my kids, my 3 children, call me dad and have a smile on their face when they do it. So for every father out there, if you just look at this as the greatest honor you'll ever have, you'll be great no matter what your field or background you come from. Your kids will love you because you're present. They understand that you're working hard as you possibly can to make ends meet or to make a life for them. But you're a human. You're not a robot. You're not a computer. And as we can see, even computers mess up. We had a whole software crash that still left people stranded in various airports around the country. So it's not about perfection. It's about being present.
Yeah, and for you mentioned some of your background, but football was a way for you to kind of find your footing a little bit. 1996, you show up as a freshman on the campus at University of Florida, playing for Coach Spurrier. And at that time, had you any idea of the things you wanted to accomplish, or did you have that kind of inward drive of maybe a picture of what you would later become?
I had zero idea that I would be a WWE superstar. I would be in the WWE as a Hall of Famer. I had no idea that I would travel the world and meet people from all over this globe, and be on television for 15 years straight. I had no idea that I would do half of the stuff or meet half of the people that I've met. But God had a plan. And when I went to the University of Florida, my main thing was I want to make sure that I put myself in a position where I can get a job. So I need to graduate from college. And football may or may not work out. I hope it does. I hope I get a chance to go to the NFL and make a lot of money and be a high draft pick. But most guys that go to college on a football scholarship or a sports scholarship have that same aspiration, but not understand that it's equally important to have an education. It's equally important to have a great character so that people will hire you, not just because you were an athlete, but because you were a great human being. And so those things for me have always been important, and it's been the driving force and what's behind everything that I do, whether it's business or personal or family. My approach is the same. I believe that God has a plan on my life, and he's continually showing me ways and things that I'm able to help facilitate that I would have never imagined in my wildest dreams were even possible. So I would tell anyone, yeah, you can have dreams and you can have goals, but if you have a work ethic and you're a great human being, a lot of those things that you want to do, you probably do it at a higher level just because God has a plan for all of our lives to be able to be productive citizens and to be prosperous in whatever way we choose.
Let's take a quick break with Titus. Coming back on the other side, we're going to talk a little football and his alma mater, the University of Florida, how Billy Napier is looking for year number 3. Stay with us. The nodpod's back after this. We are joined by former Gator turned WWE superstar and Hall of Famer Titus O'Neil. So let's take a look at the current cast of Gators that we have up the road here. And many agree that this is the hardest football schedule this coming college football season. What, in your opinion, does success look like for the Gators on the football field this season?
I think, obviously everything's measured by wins and losses. But to me, it's just showing improvement in all facets of the game. Don't go out there and get beat because you're undisciplined. Don't go out there and get beat because you're unprepared. Don't go out there and get beat because you're not as talented as the other teams altogether. Go out there and get beat because the team was just better than you. And I think Coach Napier is a great head football coach. I think he's a great man. But in the SEC, with this schedule that we have coming up, it's going to require him to be more than just a great man. And a great recruiter is going to cause for him at this point for him to put all these pieces together that he's done an excellent job of doing with coaching staff and players. and nutrition staff. My youngest son is now there as a member of the football team. My nephew, Miles Graham, is now a member of the football team there. So I'm excited about that from a personal standpoint, but also from as an alum that played at the University of Florida, played in the Swamp. Like, I definitely want to see us improve to a point where everyone can have something to be excited about. I mean, Florida State made a hell of a transformation last year, and they wanted to run Mike Norvell out of Tallahassee. And, and they were essentially in the talks for, playing for a national championship. It didn't work out that way, but at least they can go into this season with a lot of optimism. And that's what I hope that the Gators are able to do after this season, is to come out, knowing that there was great improvement. And there's a great chance that we got a chance to be back in the thick of things at the end of the day.
All right, closer to home, training camp underway over at $1. Is there a player or position group that you're most jacked up to see this year take the field at Ray J?
Baker Mayfield. I am just looking forward to seeing how he, he's obviously adapted Tampa Bay as his home. Had some big shoes to fill coming in after Tom Brady, winning a Super Bowl here in the one of 3 years that he was here, but making the playoffs. And I'm really excited about Mike Evans and what he, will essentially hopefully do in the future. Not just as what he did with the Bucs, but in the community. He's a community legend for us. And so seeing those two individuals, and then also just seeing the young guys that we drafted and seeing how they fit in and hopefully fit in right away and make a big impact. Those things are very important for us to have success. We're in a very competitive NFC South. And the Saints aren't going anywhere anytime soon. The Falcons aren't going anywhere anytime soon. Obviously the Carolina Panthers took away our young upstart coach and Coach Canales, and so he knows a thing or two about the Buccaneers with his experience in the organization over the last several years. And so it's not going to be an easy cakewalk, but we do have great pieces. We still got Chris Godwin here. We still have Vita on the defensive line. We got Antoine Winfield back, and so we've got some great pieces. It's just a matter of putting it all together.
No doubt. All right. Before I let you go, I got some rapid fires for you. Let's start. Here we go. I understand that you are a bit of a foodie. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but you did appear recently on an episode of Dinner Diaz, so that would lend to this line of questioning. Your top go-to meal?
My top go-to meal would be the burger at Boulan.
Okay. Specific. One item, if it appeared on your dinner plate, you won't touch it.
Sweet peas.
Sweet peas, they get the best of us. Sometimes they sneak them in, too. All right, something that no one would suspect that you're good at.
Cooking.
Okay. Nice. You cooking meals like for the family?
Yeah, family, friends.
There you go.
I'm something like a chef.
Okay. Wait, hang on now. What's your meal that you make that is like your sweet spot?
Literally any and everything. Really? I can go from Caribbean food to soul food to Italian. I can make anything. I'm very good on the grill. I'm like, I don't brag about a lot of things, but cooking is my jam.
All right. Hey, you got to state it like it is, right? All right. Something that no one would suspect that you're not very good at.
Not very good. I guess since it's a growing trend and fad, probably pickleball.
Fair enough. Favorite guy to wrestle against?
Favorite guy to wrestle against? Rey Mysterio.
Okay. Closest thing to a phobia that you have?
Closest thing to a phobia, I guess heights.
Really?
Yeah. I don't like heights.
And finally, how do I get my co-host Chris Cato to increase his bicep size?
Oh, jeez.
They're pipe cleaners right now.
You're going to have to interview someone much more skilled in in transformation of the human body than I am. Maybe have him go and see one of our great plastic surgeons that are in town. They can implant some biceps.
There you go. Hey, that's his only hope. He's got to go. He's got to go fake muscles. All right. It is the Back to School Bash at Raymond James Stadium Saturday. 9:01 is when those gates open. Anything else that folks need to know before they head out?
Or just the backpacks are first come, first serve. I would encourage everyone to get there early. On average, people get there around 5:45, 6 o'clock. I'm doing the two morning hits, and people are already lined up, ready to go into the venue. So get there early. Don't show up at 12:59 saying, "Hey, I'm here to get such and such," because it's most likely going to be gone.
He is a philanthropist. He is a WWE Hall of Famer, and we discovered that he's also a quite the chef. He is Titus O'Neil. Thank you so much for being part of our show.
Thank you, man. I appreciate the time.
Oh, look who showed up. I'm sorry.
Well,
were you offended by that?
Now the world knows why I didn't wear a T-shirt on today's podcast, because you and your little buddy were making fun of my puny arms.
Well, I'm trying to help you out. If there's anybody to ask about that, I think it's probably Titus O'Neil.
And his answer was implants?
Well, I don't know.
No,
For
we
some
know.
people.
You know, when I get implants, they're not going in the biceps. They're going elsewhere in other areas of my body.
All right. Okay. Let's bring BK back in. All right. It's our fourth and final fun block. All right, BK. Let's get this. This is a soccer quiz, right? That's what you got for us?
Yeah, I just thought I'd test you on your soccer knowledge about these international teams.
Okay, Googling obscure soccer mascots right now.
And it's not mascots. These are actual team names, so you should probably have heard these.
Okay.
I'm going to put, we'll put 4 up on the screen. 1 will be an actual team name. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. We're going to start with Doncaster Tuesday, Sheffield Wednesday, Bray Thursday, Hamilton Friday. This is an easy one.
Oh, is it?
Whoa, who named these?
This is a team name.
One of those is actual team name.
Oh my gosh.
I know there is a Sheffield, but I don't know what they call themselves.
I'm gonna pick Bray Thursday. Bray Thursday.
Bray is the sound a donkey makes. I'm going to pick Sheffield Wednesday.
It is Sheffield Wednesday.
Ah!
Okay.
It was formed from a cricket team back in the 1800s, and they played their games on Wednesday, and then the soccer team started playing their games on Wednesday, so they just called it Sheffield Wednesday. There is another Sheffield team. There's Sheffield United.
So if we had a team, we would be the nodpod Tuesday, because we usually tape on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
And where does Sheffield play?
They play in England.
Okay.
In Sheffield, England.
Sheffield, England.
Be specific. As like a suburb.
Okay, this next one's it's got fictional characters in their actual name.
Okay.
Harold Potter.
Let's go. FC Santa Claus, Yeti United, the Cape Town Dragons, or Loch Ness City. One of those is a real soccer team.
Let's go for 0 for 2. I'm going to go Loch Ness City.
Oh, man. I know Cape Town is a real thing. I don't know if they call themselves the Dragons, though. I'm going to say, because it's fun, FC Santa Claus.
Cato. God.
Is it? Yes. There he
Santa
is.
Claus, man. Team plays its games in Finland in Rovaniemi or something like that, which is the hometown of Santa Claus.
Is it really?
I thought he lived in the North Pole.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But he's maybe a summer home.
He's Finnish, huh? Okay.
You want another one?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. We're going with the TK Dans, the MK Dons, the BK Rons, or the JK Jims. One of those is a soccer team. Which one is it?
It's definitely not the BK Rons.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Why? Because he's Brian King?
And then we have Ron is normally working our audio board.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say JK Gems. Let's go JK Gems for the win.
I like BK Rons. They all wear British Knights. BK Rons. Is that right?
It's not right. It's MK Dons.
Oh, that was the other one I was thinking.
They play in Milton Keynes.
I like their logo.
Yeah. They moved from Wimbledon. They were actually a Wimbledon team. Moved 70 miles because of a stadium dispute or something like that. And so there's a big argument, still a big rivalry there, but the Dons is like Wimbledon, So they took the Don's last name.
Okay.
Is this boring or is this good?
Do they still make British Knight shoes? By the way, remember those?
Yeah, of course I did.
Yeah, they were big for a minute.
They were big. They were like an athletic shoe,
right?
Or basketball? Were they basketball?
I think they were just more stylish, like one, not really athletic, but anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I remember a childhood show, Funhouse. Remember that?
Yes, yeah.
They used to always give away a pair of BKs.
They must have been terrible shoes if Funhouse was giving them away.
They weigh like 8 pounds each.
They're made of paper towels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wear these cinder blocks on your feet. Okay. Do we have any more?
We got a couple more if you want.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
I mean, I'm not doing any. We could stop now, and I'd be happy because I'm really doing horrible.
Oh, no, not the Teenage Boys FC.
BSC Boys, Teenage Boys FC, Young Men SC, or the Sporting Gentlemen.
Why don't you go first here?
They need
Chris?
better names for all of these clubs.
It sounds like a boy band.
Yeah, the
BSC Young Boys are back.
Yeah, with the who was the with the Fine Young Cannibals? Yeah. I'm gonna go Teenage Boys FC. Sounds sus, but I'm gonna say that.
Okay, something a teenage boy would say. Sus. I'm gonna go Sporting Gentlemen. I like Sporting Gentlemen, a little bit more dignified group of lads.
Good choice, but it's actually the BSC Young Boys.
Oh,
Swiss team formed in 1898, named after another team in that area called the Old Boys.
What's the oldest person on the BSC Young Boys?
I have no idea. I guess they're normal age. I don't know.
Okay.
But
he's 2.
he's
Not very good.
His passing is terrible.
Yes.
How about another one?
Sure.
Well, I got a whole slew of them. I can save some. How about this one? Fencing club, rugby club, racing club, or chess club? One of those is an actual soccer team's name.
Well, I like chess club. I'm gonna go chess club because it's like a chess match. Out
Yeah,
there.
it could be. Yeah.
They got a little rook, a guy that plays rook, a guy that plays queen. Yeah.
Got to keep them away from the queen.
Yeah.
I don't understand how to play chess. I tried to learn
Really?
once. Difficult game.
Oh,
yeah.
it's a fun game.
Well,
Yeah,
how
once you
many
get it,
ways? How many ways can the queen move?
every way.
How about the king?
One spot at a time, any direction.
Okay.
Not diagonal though. I don't believe.
He's useless. Let's go racing club. That sounds like fun.
Cato is on it.
Golly.
Racing Club, Argentine team formed in 1903, named after a magazine that the team's owner had called a racing magazine. I think that's Martin Grammatica's favorite team too.
Oh, is it?
I may be mistaken, but I kind of think it is. From somewhere.
We should have had Phone a Friend, and then
We could have
figured that out.
He could have given us all of these.
I hate this game.
This is a tough game.
Oh, come on.
We're never doing this again. Cross this off. All right, hit me with one more.
This is the Young Elephants FC, Wise Wombats, the Swift Serpents, or the Swimming Sharks. One of those is an actual team name.
Oh, I like all of those.
Well, they already have a Young Boys. Do they double down and go Young Elephants? This is the question. And isn't a young elephant called a calf anyway?
It is, yes.
So I don't know if Young Elephants, though it's the only one that it is not phonetically, what's the word?
Alliteration.
Alliterated. That's the word I was looking for.
Phonetically pleasing.
So I think some of those are BKs. I think BK did Wise Wombats. I think he did Swift Serpents. And I think the Swimming Sharks was a shot at me. So I'm going to circle back to my first one that I crossed off and put it back on. I'm going to say Young Elephants.
Okay, you really put a lot of thought into that. I think all that mercury in that fish we fed you has gone to your brain. I think because BK thought that you would think that he's trolling you with swimming sharks, that's why he put swimming sharks on there. So I'm going to do what a shark would do and circle back and take a bite out of that.
Devour me.
Swimming Sharks FC for the win, BK.
Sea Demon.
It is the Young Elephants.
Oh, he got one.
Hey, on the board. I love this game. This is my favorite game.
Team formed in 2015 in Laos. Got its name from the owner who became fascinated with American football, in particularly college football. Cato.
Okay.
And the team he followed,
I like where you're going with this.
Alabama. He wanted his team to be as dominant and fierce as the Tide, so he called them the Young Elephants.
Yeah.
Now I'm a fan. I've got to get one of their
keeper is a young Nicholas Saban.
I made that whole thing up. That is, I don't know how they got their name.
Oh, I like that backstory.
But they're
You should have stopped there. Yeah.
That's a nodpod story.
Yeah,
Okay.
he sniffed you out on the alliteration, though.
Yeah.
If you had gone elegant elephants, he wouldn't have known.
Oh, I should have. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
All right.
That was good.
That was fun, BK. Even though I didn't do very well.
It's okay.
You finished on a high note, and that's all I care about.
And you got fish.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish, right?
Drink your wine and shut up.
This show, finishing on a strong note. Chris telling me to shut up, and that's what I'll do. Much thanks to our crew. We got Chris on the ones and twos. We got BK in the booth, Mariah on the jib, Chris Cato to my left, smelling like stinky fish. Thanks for tuning into the Nod Pod. Until the next time we are on, there are no off days.
Please give us an off day.